Good afternoon. I apologize for the bad audio. I am literally a couple miles from Pikes Peak, about to give a demo tomorrow. This is the follow-up on the Max Power, as I'm calling it, the Max Vision. I don't know if you guys saw, I'll post a link to the video, or I'll put a couple pictures in this video as well with this Max Vision. It's a dual AMD EPIC running, what is it, 4 terabytes of storage, terabyte of RAM, 256 threads. I almost said cores there. I called it Max Power because it's from a company called Max Vision. I'll give them a shout out. Max Vision. This is their CyberPack XL2, XL 9200. It's so new, it's not even on their website yet. I can't use my fingers. Um, there you go, the CyberPack. They actually shipped me one. Big shout out to them. Customer asked for a demo, pretty specific demo of Rancher, Longhorn, Harvester, all running on a single node, 4 downstream clusters, GPU pass through GitLab. So let's kind of start with the overview. So I'm running GitLab in the first cluster. I'm going to put the image, Max Power PNG. There we go. So really what's going on is this is like I said, the CyberPack XL 9200. So Harvester is interesting as the base OS because you can run hyperconverged, right? You can run containers, you can run VMs next to each other. Gets a little tricky. There's some Harvester 1.2 coming out soon. We'll fix a few of the bugs I ran into. But the cool part is right now, oh, I need to update this because GitLab is actually running in a VM. But I've got Harvester, I've got the Longhorn, which is what Harvester uses for storage. It has a mini Rancher built into it, but we don't need to worry about that. And then we've got Harbor. So right here, I've got Harbor running on Harvester. So that's bare metal. In addition to that, I've got actual several downstream clusters. I'll redo this image. This is pretty cool for me. But let me show you. So here's the actual node itself. And you can see I've got 256 cores. I'm barely scratching this service because of thin provisioning. Let's look at virtual machines. I have a bunch running. So I've got my DHCP one, and that currently is running DHCP and DNS, as well as a Yum repo server. So I've synced down all of Rocky's Yum repos. Oh yeah, the other part of this demo was air gaps. Yay, cool air gaps and SE Linux, all the things. So I kind of demonstrated some of that, pulled that down. So I have my primary cluster, which is Rancher. So that's where I'm running Rancher. And there I'm actually running Longhorn as well as Neuvector and GitLab. Then I have cluster 1, which is a downstream, cluster 2, which is a downstream, and cluster 3, which is a downstream. Interestingly enough, if we go into GPU 2, you'll see in the picture I've only got one GPU on it. But if I go into, actually, I'm going to go into the configs, which is kind of fun. If I go to PCI devices, notice I've got the actual PCI devices passed through. And what this basically means, let me get on the node. I'll do it this way, make it easier. All right, I can show you. I got GPU 2. No, I didn't update that. I forget what it was at the top of my head. By the way, I've been up for quite a number of hours flying, traveling. But if I run LSPCI, you can see right here, NVIDIA high def audio, and I must be blind. Where is it? I don't know. There you go. There's the Quadro P4000 GPU. Okay, so this is pretty cool, right? So Harvester is able to pass through PCI devices directly to the VM. The VM is able to directly use them themselves. And then I don't have the app up and running, but in Kubernetes, I actually have the NVIDIA driver GPU operator running, so it automatically injects the driver. So literally, I just needed to run a GPU-enabled app and be able to take advantage of that card directly on the hardware. That's pretty gosh darn cool. Doing some testing with Rocky. Obviously, got Lunar and Jamie from Ubuntu. Let's go over to Rancher because this is kind of fun. You know, Rancher being a multi-cluster manager, when you first log in. And oh, by the way, I've got the carbided version. But say I've got cluster one, cluster two, GPU, and local. So I have a total of 4 clusters here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the local cluster. One of the fun things I did for the local cluster is I've got continuous delivery turned on, aka Fleet. Switch to the namespace. The cool thing about this is I've got a bunch of apps that are automatically deployed for it. But this is a fun one. This is one I did for another customer and another kind of air gap piece of equipment. Is I put in a catalog, and what this catalog allows me to do, let me go to the cluster and go to apps, and then notice I've got my catalogs. This allowed me to create. I called it KPA. I wasn't very smart, didn't rename it, but no worries. Nobody knows what that means. But I've got a bunch of apps here, right? WordPress, Tetris, things like that. What I was able to do using Fleet is automatically add the repo. So add this chart for the repo, and then add this little button here that points to the deploy app, right? So here I've got the app, and let's go ahead and go ahead and just look at the cluster itself. We can maybe look at events or projects and spaces. Trying to figure out what the best way to look at it. Workloads. Yep. So notice right here, N and W, there is no Tetris. So if I go here to a wonderful app and go ahead and click the button, it takes a second, and then we'll see this is the expected output. And within 30 seconds, I'm on a hotel Wi-Fi. Yep, there we go. So there's Tetris deployed. And go ahead and click Tetris. Boom. This was all done from a repo. So we can go back here to GitLab. Fleet. Whoops, sorry, catalog. That was the wrong one. Catalog. It's all done from this GitLab URL. And it's pulling the project from Harbor. So everything's all local. Everything's all 100% air gapped, ready to go. Really kind of a fun project all in all put together to show air gapped customer that you can run all these things. We've even added in not the CIS benchmark, but the Stigatron. This is one I did Sunday, and we can go look at the open visualizer. So this is part of Project Carbide, just as a piece there, where it's basically a Stig viewer that you can obviously export, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with this. And I'm not really going into this. Is more about the demo I'm doing and why I'm in Colorado, and the Max Vision hardware that is just blowing me away with how much power it's got. I may actually look at buying one of their smaller units just because it is so powerful and so cool. A lot better than the commercial desktop stuff out there, but not quite a full 1U 2U kind of server where it's a lot harder to carry. My ideal situation is like a laptop, and there we go. Let's look. Not that I already been looking at these. Max Vision server mini rack. I thought these were really cool in terms of like little tiny half depth, quarter depth, which is really cool. As always, if you got any questions, you know where to reach me, find me. Thought this would be cool to demonstrate. Peace.